Congratulations.
The candle flickers. The wind sighs through a cracked wooden wall. Somewhere in the dark, a rat scurries across the dirt floor. You're not dreaming. You're not in a fantasy novel. You've just woken up in 1325. And the truth? It's worse than you imagined. They told you the Middle Ages were romantic, chivalrous knights, grand feasts, elegant castles. But those were for the lucky few. The real medieval world? It was raw, rotten, and utterly relentless. A place where your mattress was half a sack of straw, and the other half, bugs. Tonight, dim your lights. Let the fan hum like a distant wind over a plague-ridden field. And together, we'll time travel, slowly, softly, into a day in the life of someone history forgot. Welcome to the Middle Ages. Let's begin. Congratulations. You've just opened your eyes, in 1325. The good news? You're alive. The bad news? So are the fleas. You sleep on a half-rotted straw mattress that smells exactly like where it came from, a barn floor. 3 months ago. There are no pillows. No memory foam. No sheets, unless you count a wool blanket so dirty it weighs as much as a calf. A church bell tolls in the distance. Your medieval alarm clock, louder, colder, and far less merciful. Your house. One room. Wooden walls. No windows. You share it with goats, your family, and every insect imaginable. The smell? A pungent mix of stale beer, unwashed bodies, goat, and something worse. You hope it's mold. But you know it's not. You stretch. Your joints scream. You're 22. Which, in this world, is middle-aged. Maybe even old. The floor beneath your bare feet? Wet. From rain. Or from something the neighbor's chicken left behind. And there's no privacy. Everyone's waking up beside you. Including your cousin who never quite moved out. This is just morning. And trust me, it's downhill from here. Part 2, Morning of Unspeakable Things. Nature calls. But it's not calling politely. It's screaming. And in the Middle Ages, when nature screams, there's no toilet to answer. You step outside, or rather stumble, because you're still half asleep and the ground is soft with last night's rain. Or worse. Behind your hut, there's a wooden bucket. Already full. Uncle Woolston had a rough night. Turnips again. The smell? Biblical. You hold your breath. Do your business. And then? You throw it into the street. Yes, the street. Before tossing, you're supposed to shout guard as low. Old French for watch out below. But honestly, nobody ever moves fast enough. You peek out. The street is an open sewer. A slow-moving river of human waste, animal droppings, and mystery puddles that defy explanation. It squelches underfoot. Now, if you're lucky, very lucky, your village might have a public latrine. A shared wooden bench. No walls. No doors. Just strangers sitting shoulder to shoulder. No toilet paper, of course. You wipe with straw. Or leaves. Sometimes a rag. Sometimes nothing. That handshake people offer you later today? Yeah. Think about it. And castles? Surely nobles had it better? Sort of. They had something called a garderobe, a little stone alcove built over the outer wall, where waste dropped straight into the moat below. Which sounds clever. Until you realize enemies could climb in through it. Yes. That happened. So whether you're a peasant or a prince, relieving yourself in the Middle Ages is a gamble. A public act. A humiliation ritual. A daily reminder. You live in a world not built for comfort, but for survival. Part 3, Breakfast, not for eating, but for enduring. You've made it. You're still alive. You deserve breakfast. Except this is medieval Europe. And breakfast isn't a reward. It's a warning. No toast. No eggs. No fruit. You get pottage. A gray, lumpy stew that's been simmering for days, maybe weeks, in the same pot. Grains. A carrot stub. A suspicious chunk that might be a bean. No one knows. No one asks. New ingredients are just dumped on top. It's not a recipe. It's an ongoing experiment. You stare into the bowl. It stares back. Next to it, a brick of barley bread. So hard it could block arrows. It's half sawdust, half hope. You don't cut it. You negotiate with it. And what do you drink? Beer. At 6 in the morning. Because the water? It wants to kill you. Streams look clean, but upstream, someone just emptied a chamber pot. Or drowned a pig. Or both. So, children drink beer. Everyone drinks beer. Not for joy. For safety. Meat? Only on feast days. Cheese? Maybe. If the rats haven't claimed it first. Fruit? Only if it's in season and not already fermenting. Salt? Locked away like treasure. Spices? Dream on. A pinch of pepper costs more than your monthly labor. So you eat. You chew. You swallow. And nothing about it brings comfort. Because this breakfast, it doesn't nourish. It simply happens to you. Part 4, working to death, really. You're fed. Barely. Now it's time to get dressed. Except you have one outfit. Not one for today. One for life. A coarse wool tunic. Or maybe a linen shift, if you're lucky. It scratches. It smells. And it hasn't been washed since no one remembers. Underwear? Optional. Fungus? Inevitable. Shoes? If you own any, they're made of untreated leather. Floppy, thin, about as useful as wrapping your feet in old bark. Most people just go barefoot. Through mud, through dung, through puddles full of disease and bones. The skin on your feet? Cracked. Your heels? Bleeding. But that's fine. Because it's time to work. You grab your hoe. Your sickle. Or if you're unlucky, your empty hands. You step into the fields. Dew clings to the dying grass. Your back aches before you even begin. And there's no weekend. No break room. No, how are you feeling today? You labor from sunrise to sundown. You plow. Sow. Dig. Weed. Carry water in wooden buckets until your shoulders scream. You're not working for yourself. This land? It belongs to a lord. A man you might never meet. But whose taxes you'll pay in grain, eggs, or your children's labor. And if you're a woman, double the work. Because once you're done with the fields, you cook. You clean. You patch clothes. You give birth, then work through the bleeding. And children? There's no school. No playtime. By age 5, they're working beside you. A rake in their hands. A life of labor ahead. Part 5, body care, when everything is against you. Your body is tired. But it's also under attack. Constantly. Fleas live in your mattress. Lice live in your hair. Bed bugs nest in the seams of your clothes. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing, you can do. Everyone has them. Even nobles. Even monks. Even babies. You scratch your scalp with a spoon. You rub your arms raw. You stop noticing the itch. It becomes part of you. And bathing? Let's not pretend. Water is cold. Hard to get. And dangerous. Some believe washing opens your pores and lets the sickness in. So you wear the dirt like armor. Layers of grime, sweat, soot, and sorrow. It's not filth. It's survival. And even if you wanted to wash, you have to carry water from the well. Boil it. Pour it into a wooden tub that leaks. And then pray your cousin doesn't use it before you. Because hygiene in the Middle Ages isn't a ritual of self-care. It's a war. And you're losing. Part 6, oral health, when a toothache can write your obituary. Let's talk about your smile. If you can still call it that. Because in the Middle Ages, your mouth is a battlefield. And it's losing the war. There's no toothbrush. No toothpaste. No floss. No mouthwash. Some people chew on twigs. Others rinse with wine or vinegar. But mostly, your teeth are left to rot in peace. And rot they do. By your 20s, your gums are inflamed. Your molars ache. There's a black spot near the front tooth. That's not food. That's decay. You chew gritty bread, stale pottage, and hope it doesn't hurt too much today. But it does. It always does. Toothache becomes your background music. Like the church bell. Like your mother's cough. Like the slow grind of the world breaking you. And what happens when the pain becomes too much? You don't go to a dentist. There are none. You go to a barber. Yes. The man who cuts your hair. He'll put you in a wooden chair. Hand you a stick to bite. And with a rusted iron hook, he'll yank it out. No anesthesia. No antiseptic. Just blood, screaming, and maybe prayer. If the wound gets infected, you develop a fever. And in a few days, your body shuts down. All from a tooth. Today, you take a painkiller. Back then, you prepare to die. Part 7, Weather, when even heaven and earth hate you. Ah, the weather. Another gentle reminder that the world is trying to kill you. Let's start with winter. There's no insulation. No glass windows. No central heating. Just wind howling through cracks in the wood. Your only defense? A wet wool tunic in a fire that's almost out. You can't afford enough wood. And collecting it from the wrong forest can get you executed. So you freeze. Your toes go numb. Your fingers stiffen like twigs. You sleep beside the fire, if there is one, and wake with frost on your blanket. You don't call it cold. You call it life. And summer? It should be better. It's not. Your hut becomes a clay oven. There's no breeze. No fan. No deodorant. You sweat. You stink. And you can't remove your clothes, not just because of modesty, but because the sun will flay your skin like meat. Flies buzz around your face. Mosquitoes hum in your ears. Your thighs chafe. Your back burns. You're still wearing that same tunic. It still itches. Whether it's July or January, your world has two settings. Too hot. Or too cruel. Part 8, Water, the crystal clear thing. And kills you slowly. You're thirsty. Parched. The kind of dry where your tongue scrapes the roof of your mouth like sandpaper. There's a stream nearby. It looks clear. Bubbling. Fresh. Almost beautiful. But don't be fooled. Upstream, someone just dumped a bucket of waste into it. Or worse, someone dumped a body. You can't see the parasites. The bacteria. The invisible armies of illness drifting in that shimmer. But they see you. And they're waiting. So you don't drink water. You drink beer. Yes. Beer. Even the children do. Because beer has been boiled. It's weak in alcohol. But strong in survivability. It won't quench your thirst. But it won't kill you. Not today, at least. Wine? Only for the rich. And what about bathing? Well, it's complicated. Some believe that washing opens your pores and invites disease in. So dirt becomes a protective layer. Soap? Rare. Clean towels? Never. Even if you wanted to bathe, you'd have to. Fetch water from a well. Boil it. Pour it into a wooden tub. Share it with the entire family. And hope no one peed in it first. Rain barrels. Birds bathe in them. Bugs breed in them. Moss grows thick on the rim. But you splash some on your face anyway. Because what choice do you have? In the Middle Ages, water isn't your friend. It's your silent executioner. Part 9, Healing, when pain is a therapy, not a symptom. You're sick now. Stomach pain. Fever. Rash. Or maybe a tooth infection finally reached your brain. You need a doctor. But what you'll get is something else entirely. First, there's no germ theory. They don't know what bacteria are. They think illness comes from bad air, evil spirits, or God being angry at your behavior. The cure? Bloodletting. They slice open your arm and let you bleed. Too much black bile? You get a laxative. Too sad? They might drill a hole in your skull to let the demons out. If you're lucky, you'll just be prescribed some crushed beetles, or a poultice made from goat dung and moldy bread. And who's your doctor? probably a barber. Or a monk. Or an old woman with a knife and strong opinions. There's no anesthesia. No antiseptic. No antibiotics. If your fever gets worse, the priest shows up. Not with medicine, but with last rites. Your family gathers around. And everyone whispers the same thing. If it's God's will, he'll survive. He won't. Part 10, Dinner, when every bite is a bet. You've made it to nightfall. Your back aches. Your hands sting. And your stomach? It's begging. You sit by the fire. Not for comfort, there is none. But because dinner is finally ready. Except it's not a feast. It's pottage. Again. That same gray-brown swamp of overcooked vegetables, roots, and things that may have been edible 2 weeks ago. No meat. Unless a rat drowned in the pot. Then maybe. Your bread? Still hard. Still full of filler, bark, acorns, sometimes clay. Yes, literal clay. People are desperate. And if it's rice season, you risk something worse. Ergot. A fungus. Invisible. Silent. It infects the grain. And when consumed, it causes tremors. Visions. Convulsions. Some say it makes people dance until they drop dead. Others call it witchcraft. The church says it's the devil. It's not. It's dinner. Your cheese? Spoiled. You eat it anyway. Your milk? Sour. You hold your breath. And yet, you eat. Because hunger hurts more than taste. Because if you don't, you won't make it to tomorrow. And if, by some cruel grace, you catch a rabbit or a pheasant to cook over the fire, congratulations. That's illegal. Game belongs to the Lord. You could be fined, beaten, hanged, for feeding your child. So you eat what you're allowed. Greed, guilt, and the gray stew of the forgotten. Part 11, Faith, when sin does not end with death, but begins there. Night falls, but your day is far from over. Because now, it's God's turn. In the Middle Ages, religion isn't part of life. It is life. And death. And everything in between. The church owns your time. Your money. Your afterlife. You pray when the bell rings, morning, noon, and night. Not because it brings peace, but because not doing it brings damnation. You can't read the Bible. It's in Latin. Only priests and nobles understand it. So you trust them. Because not trusting them is heresy. And heresy is fire. You give the church 1/10 of everything. Your eggs. Your grain. Even when you're starving. You confess. You fast. You bow. And if you forget, if you eat meat on the wrong day, if you say the wrong thing about a saint, if you dream the wrong dream, you're a sinner. And the punishment? Eternal. They describe hell with precision. Boiling rivers. Demons with hooks. Screams that never end. The plague may kill your body. But your soul? It can still be lost. And the people who judge you? The priests. The same ones who took your chickens last winter. Who whisper in Latin and glare in silence. You dare not question them. You dare not question anything. Because in this world, hope doesn't come from heaven. It comes from making it through one more day. Part 12, Being a Woman, the hardest mode in a survival game. If you thought being a medieval peasant was hard, try doing it as a woman. Same filth. Same hunger. Same endless labor. Plus childbirth. Plus obedience. Plus complete invisibility. From the moment you're born, your path is set. Not by you, but by your father. Then your husband. Marriage isn't about love. It's about livestock. Land. Bloodlines. You're betrothed by 12. Pregnant by 14. Dead, maybe by 22. And childbirth? It's not a beginning. It's a battlefield. No painkillers. No clean tools. Just a midwife whispering prayers. While your body tears. Sometimes the baby dies. Sometimes you do. Sometimes both. But even if you survive, your work only begins. You nurse the infant, stir the pot, chop the firewood, scrub the floor, serve your husband, and never, ever complain. Because if you speak too loudly, they might call you a witch. If you know herbs, if you don't marry, if you're too smart, too old, too alone, you're suspicious. And suspicion leads to fire, leads to stone, leads to drowning, tied to a chair in the river. If you float, you're guilty. If you sink, you're innocent and dead. Even in the church, you are second. A nun's silence is holy, her obedience divine. Her soul always below is. Your voice, unheard. Your story, unwritten. Your worth, counted only by how many sons you survive. So you bow your head. You smile through the pain. And you carry the weight of a world that never intended to carry you. Part 13, Violence, when blood is the law, and justice is fear. Still think this world is safe? Let's talk about violence. It's not the exception. It's the rule. Disputes aren't settled with reason. They're settled with fists. With blades. With fire. Steal a loaf of bread? Lose a hand. Spread gossip? Wear the scold's bridle, a metal mask with a spiked tongue. Say the wrong prayer? Tied to a stake. And if you're accused of a crime, even falsely, you're tortured. Boiling water ordeal. Stick your hand in. If it heals in 3 days, you're innocent. If not, to the gallows. Or trial by drowning. They tie your arms. Toss you into the river. If you float, you're a witch. If you sink, congratulations. Innocent. Also, dead. Executions are public. A spectacle. Children cheer. Vendors sell bread near the blood. And domestic violence? Normal. Expected. A husband disciplines. A wife obeys. You can be beaten for disrespect. For looking the wrong way. For existing the wrong way. And war? Always simmering. Between towns. Between lords. Between faiths. Knights march off to glory. Peasants march off to die. And the blade that finds your neck could be your neighbor's. Part 14, Death. Not the end, but the giving up. If you're still alive, you're one of the lucky ones. But luck doesn't last here. In the Middle Ages, death is everywhere. It hangs in the air like smoke. It waits in puddles. In bread. In childbirth. In silence. And it comes early. Live past 40? You're a miracle. A walking legend. The average life expectancy? Around 35. But that number hides a cruel truth. Half of all children die before age 5. One bad winter. One cough. One bad piece of meat, and your life ends before you even begin. If you make it to adulthood, you age in dog years. By 25, your joints ache. You've buried siblings. You've lost teeth. You've stopped asking why. And when death finally comes, it's not glamorous. You don't pass away in a soft bed, surrounded by music. You collapse in a field. You waste away in a hut. You convulse in the dark, holding a straw doll in one hand and a prayer in the other. No hospitals. No comfort. No morphine. Sometimes, no burial. If plague strikes, bodies pile up faster than they can be named. They're tossed into pits. Lime thrown on top. Names forgotten. No stone. No goodbye. Just the silence of dirt closing over another empty space. And yet, people endure. Somehow. They sing. They marry. They whisper stories by candlelight and plant seeds they might never see bloom. Because humans, even in the blackest night, keep hoping the sun will rise. The end, a day has passed. A life has ended. And you have survived. So now, as you return from this world of mud, fire, and bone, back to your own soft bed, your filtered water, your ibuprofen, and your electric light, Take a breath. A deep one. Because what you just lived was one day. Just one. And that was the easy part. No invasion. No plague cart. No war trumpet at dawn. You weren't burned for suspicion. You weren't hung for hunger. You just survived. And that alone would have made you a legend. So next time you flush a toilet, open your fridge, brush your teeth, or scream because your Wi-Fi's down, remember them. The ones who came before you. Who suffered so you wouldn't have to. This world, your world, isn't perfect. But it's clean. It's kind. And it lets you live without bleeding for every bite. So tonight, when you lie down, say thank you. To your heater. To your mattress. To your ancestors. Because somewhere, beneath the soil, they still whisper. You have no idea how lucky you are.